Having been reborn, the first thing I did was swallow a stone, and in front of everyone, I forced the woman who deeply loved me to swallow a green bamboo snake alive. Everyone thought I had gone mad, but they didn't know that in less than a minute, global biological mutation would begin, and all humans would gain extraordinary talents based on what they had just eaten. In my previous life, I ate a mutton bun before the cataclysm, awakening a wool talent. Though it could produce wool in harsh weather, as the mutated monsters grew stronger, I became nothing more than a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But in this life, having been reborn, I have made full preparations. In the past, I had seen a dog with the power to move mountains, which was merely the owner's mongrel from a local antique shop that had mutated. Driven by curiosity and coincidence, I learned from the shop owner that the dog had accidentally swallowed a piece of jade stone while protecting him. The first thing I did after being reborn was find an antique shop in the south of the city, spending a fortune to buy that very jade stone. As for forcing Sha Wanru to swallow her pet snake, it was because, actually, Sha Wanru likes me. When the cataclysm arrived in my previous life, Sha Wanru never left my side. Even though she had awakened an ice talent strong enough for self-preservation in the post-apocalyptic hell, she followed me faithfully, protecting me, a bottom-tier person with a useless talent, and ultimately suffered and lost her life because I dragged her down. Now that I am reborn, I naturally want to help her awaken a much stronger talent. In the previous life, Sha Wanru's bamboo snake mutated into a Jiao dragon. Had it not lost a fight to the antique shop's guard dog, it would likely have evolved into a divine dragon. The reason I demanded she swallow it alive is based on the hard-learned lessons of humanity from my previous life, as swallowing things raw yields the most powerful effects. If it weren't for the fact that my dragon vein jade stone was impossible to cut by human means, I would have shared it with Sha Wanru. Even a second-rate Jiao dragon like this is many times more powerful than the ice talent she awakened in our previous life. Facing my insistence, Sha Wanru's expression was complex. Torn between the boy she had loved for years and her beloved pet, she struggled internally, but seeing my resolute attitude, she finally made up her mind.
I'm sorry, little green. I would do anything for him.
Sha Wanru grabbed the small green snake, pinched its head, and right in front of the whole class, swallowed it whole like a noodle. Watching Sha Wanru join in on my madness, the whole class was too shocked to speak, only able to emit stunned gasps. They felt like they were going crazy too, until Sha Wanru rushed to the water cooler, frantically gulped down several cups of water, and leaned against the wall retching. That was when the whole class finally snapped back to reality. Holy, Wanru, you're serious? You're insane. He told you to eat it, and you actually did? I must be dreaming. Why am I seeing something so absurd? Quote, the teacher hadn't even recovered from the shock. He completely failed to understand the way young people think. Amidst the commotion, I arrived by Sha Wanru's side. At this moment, Sha Wanru's heavenly face was deathly pale, sweat caused by extreme pain clinging to her forehead, making her look incredibly fragile and pitiful. With a face just as pale, I suppressed the agony in my abdomen and pulled her into my arms. Yeah, I did it. Sha Wanru groaned in pain and wrapped her arms around my waist. I gently stroked Sha Wanru's pale face, while blood kept gushing from the corner of her mouth as she spoke. This scene terrified the teacher, who hurriedly dialed for an ambulance. Meanwhile, the simp Gao Junhao, who had been pursuing Sha Wanru in class only to be rejected repeatedly, felt a buzz in his brain, his overwhelming rage making his vision go black. Tall and sturdy, having trained for years with well-built muscles, he stomped over with heavy, aggressive strides. Chen Jia, you're dead. You knew she loved you, yet you forced her to eat a snake. Quote, his roar was like thunder, making every student in the class tremble. I didn't even glance at Gao Junhao. While holding Sha Wanru, I pulled out my phone and looked at the time on the screen. Gao Junhao shoved the crowd aside and charged straight at me. 3. Holding Sha Wanru, I whispered the countdown. Seeing Gao Junhao charging over, my body didn't move an inch. 2. The looming figure was about to reach me, and many people instinctively held their breath. 1. As the time arrived, a burst of light containing immense energy exploded outside the window, so dazzling that it was almost impossible to keep one's eyes open. This scene lasted only a fleeting moment before dissipating, and Gao Junhao, who had been rushing over, was temporarily blinded by the flash and slammed heavily onto the ground. After the intense light exploded, an invisible electromagnetic storm swept across the entire solar system within seconds. During this time, everyone instinctively looked out the window, but saw nothing. Most people quickly regained their composure, thinking nothing of it, while only a few began searching for news online, only to find their phones had no signal at all. Gao Junhao also climbed up from the ground, charging at me again in a fit of rage. Today, I will definitely vent my anger on Ru's behalf. His tone was filled with killing intent. Gao Junhao has trained for years. His 1'9" sturdy physique shows very defined muscles. At this moment, all the students were mourning for me in their hearts. But just as that massive fist struck at me, something unexpected happened. The bright sky turned into night almost instantly, and a glimmer of blood-red light spilled down from above. The solar storm caused a chaotic magnetic field, which in turn caused the color of the sky to shift. Just as this anomaly occurred, Sharu in my arms let out a heart-wrenching scream. Everyone instinctively looked over and saw that Sharu, who had consumed a cyan liquid and was pale, now looked strange and completely transformed. A pair of dragon horns sprouted from her head, crackling with silver electric arcs, and sparse cyan white scales appeared around her beautiful cheeks. Across her back and armor, a small, mist-shrouded dragon coiled and intertwined. Dressed in a cyan white long skirt and spiritual armor, she radiated a faint light that accentuated her delicate figure. Behind her, a cyan white dragon tail swayed slowly, looking just like a beast saintess from a television drama. After the transformation, this information immediately flooded Sharu's mind, and being a sensitive person, she vaguely understood my intention for having her consume it. It was entirely for her own good. Having already given her heart to me, she naturally could not tolerate anyone daring to provoke me. She stood in front of me and simply extended her palm, easily blocking Gao Junhao. That massive, striking fist was halted. Gao Junhao's punch was not only ineffective, but as it struck Sharu's palm, his hand was scorched by the layer of divine lightning covering her spiritual armor. Gao Junhao screamed instantly, clutching his charred right hand that was emitting wisps of smoke, and frantically searched for water to douse it while enduring the intense pain. At this moment, the scales on Sharu's face and feet gradually faded beneath her skin, and the dragon horns on her head quickly retracted, returning her to her original state. She looked at me eagerly, hoping for praise, yet though I hadn't changed at all, Xiao Wanru clearly felt her soul tremble the moment she faced me. A primal fear from a weak creature confronting a force of nature. She vaguely suspected that, just as I had mentioned before, I had already consumed something else. Wanru didn't know what that something was, but the urge to surrender body and soul only deepened the love she already felt for me. She didn't know how I knew everything about the transformation, but she understood I wouldn't hurt her, as her current abilities were a gift from me. Just then, a crimson light burst in through the window, growing brighter and brighter, illuminating the night until it felt like a fiery, blood-red day. Almost simultaneously, a piercing scream erupted, and after a brief pause, the classroom was filled with endless wailing. Many, bewildered by the eerie light, began to panic and shriek, and the scene descended into absolute chaos. As the crimson light faded, a massive, bloody, humanoid figure covered in protruding white bones appeared in the classroom, pinning two mangled human forms beneath it. Everyone else fell to the ground in terror, watching the two figures twitching under the weight as the blood-soaked, monstrous creature began to emit rhythmic sounds of chewing. Among the remaining crowd, several more bizarre figures lurked, some scrawny as monkeys, others twisted like insects, or swift as wolves, but they all shared one trait. Their skin was made of alien flesh, and they looked as hideous as demons crawled from hell. They showed no mercy to the normal students in the room, using blades in their hands and fangs in their mouths to tear those they caught in two on the spot, in a bloody, gruesome display. The classroom, once only slightly messy, had become the site of a massacre. It was a living nightmare, no different from hell. The class monitor, Zhang Ya, stared in a daze, completely unable to grasp what had happened or why the world had turned upside down after two flashes of light. What she didn't know was that the light and electromagnetic storms contained strange forces, which, when combined, caused the mutations. Only humans with a will strong enough to resist the erosion of those forces could awaken corresponding superpowers based on their internal latent potential, what you call supernatural abilities. Gao Junhao was clearly not strong-willed enough. While he stood dazed, he failed to resist the erosion of the strange power, as the violent and eerie energy rapidly invaded every corner of his body. Writhing blood vessels burst from beneath his skin, continuously twitching and contracting, as his normal flesh was pulled tight by countless tiny veins until blood began to ooze. In just 2 or 3 seconds, Gao Junhao's frame had shrunk by nearly half, his entire body drenched in blood, unrecognizable as a human, and twisted into a posture impossible for any person to achieve. After a violent spasm, sharp, beastly claws erupted from his feet, accompanied by a deafening, piercing screech. The mutated Gao Junhao lunged at the girl in front of him with speed that left a blur, instantly slicing her in two with his claws, causing the class monitor, Zhang Ya, not far away to stumble back in terror. Watching this avian humanoid creature shrieking atop the corpse, my pupils contracted. It was a blood moon demon bird. But how could this mutated beast have emerged from Gao Junhao? In my past life, I hadn't gone to school on the day of the mutation because I had taken leave, which naturally spared me from witnessing this gruesome scene. Having been reborn and lived twice, I naturally know. Among the many types of monsters that appeared after the mutation, this bird-like creature formed by Gao Junhao is called a blood moon demon bird. Though only a tier 1 monster, its speed is uncanny and its claws are sharp as blades. In the early stages of the mutation, they were arguably among the most fierce and lethal monsters in existence. Even if humans in the early stages survived the mutation phase and successfully awakened innate abilities, they still needed sufficient time to master them. If one encountered a blood moon demon bird, with its terrifying speed, one might be run through before even having the chance to unleash their innate ability. Unless those with top-tier talents could grasp the situation and effectively utilize their abilities in a short time to survive, an average person encountering a blood moon demon bird was merely fodder. Especially in the current dark environment, where the light has faded and only a faint crimson glow remains. The Blood Moon Demon Bird's owl-like traits make it even more formidable in the dark. In my previous life, I wasn't skilled enough at controlling my abilities when I first awakened and was cast out of the residential building by neighbors who saw me as a monster. If Sha Wanru hadn't found me immediately after the catastrophe and insisted on staying by my side, I might have died out there long ago. But it was precisely because I was at home that I avoided the Blood Moon Demon Bird. This also made me realize why almost no one in our class survived to leave the school in my previous life. As these thoughts flashed through my mind, I watched the Blood Moon Demon Bird vigilantly while immediately trying to awaken my innate divine power. Soon after, the information regarding my talents surfaced in my mind. My eyes lit up instantly. Blood Moon Demon Bird, you're the perfect target to test my strength. I stepped firmly, and a golden light radiated from my body. A black and gold helmet covered my face, with golden tassels swaying like flames behind my head. Intricate black armor plates, like dragon scales, covered every inch of me, making my already tall frame look even more imposing. From my back, complex purple smoke swirled, making me appear as unstoppable as a celestial warrior. As soon as the Titan armor was summoned, Sha Wan, who was by my side, held her breath and watched me with eyes full of admiration. Those classmates who had turned into monsters seemed to have been provoked by something immense and began swarming toward me. The closest was that giant fish monster. Its 3 to 4 meter tall body looked ready to attack me. Yet when my gaze swept over it, it seemed to stir the human memories it hadn't yet lost, triggering its hidden fear. The giant, twisted, ugly monster grew enraged and charged toward me with a roar. Sha Wan, seeing this, was about to summon her own Titan to step forward, but I stopped her with a wave of my hand. Then, Sha Wan watched as I lunged toward the fish monster, and in the blink of an eye, the two figures, one large, one small, collided, with an invisible shockwave vaguely visible as it burst outward, while the ground cracked open from the force of our power. Although I am nearly 2 meters tall in my Titan armor, I still look like a child in front of the 4-meter tall fish monster. The disparity in size caused my body to inevitably tilt as the ground shattered, making it appear as though I were slightly inferior in terms of strength. The Blood Moon Demon Bird, which had been transformed from Gao Junhao, mistakenly thought the fish monster had the upper hand and let out a shrill cry as it suddenly lunged toward us. Just then, I took a diagonal step back and flipped my grip, switching from a push to a pull, lifting the fish monster's 4-meter-long body and throwing it at the diving Blood Moon Demon Bird. The fish monster's ugly, massive body struck the wall, and the Blood Moon Demon Bird immediately began to roar in fury. Relying only on its agility, it extended its wings at the last second to clear the falling creature. The Blood Moon Demon Bird flapped its enormous wings, its human-like face turning its eyes as if thinking. It realized that its own strength could not shake the human clad in black gold armor. And so, the Blood Moon Demon Bird began to shriek incessantly. I realized it wasn't just roaring in anger, but using its bloodline dominance to summon all the partially transformed monsters present to attack me together. I saw the monsters that had been wary of the scene start to squirm, their skin and flesh shifting to become even more terrifying, while they emitted angry roars. At the sound of the roars, several monsters abandoned the flesh at their mouths and lunged toward me all at once. The Blood Moon Demon Bird silently flew to the ceiling, attempting a sneak attack. Seeing this, I gripped my right hand, and the red light behind me suddenly transformed into a sharp, gleaming giant axe. Facing the hideous monsters before me, I did not retreat but advanced, slamming my foot into the ground and charging like a gale. As I lunged at the 4 creatures, I twisted my body in midair, spinning the giant axe like a dragon. With a flash of light, the 4 mutated monsters were sliced in 2 almost simultaneously. The Blood Moon Demon Bird overhead shrieked and lunged at me, intending to fight to the death. But at that moment, I smirked, and my sky-splitting axe suddenly swung upward. A beam of light was amplified infinitely by the axe, and the Blood Moon Demon Bird was sliced clean in half at the waist. Once I ended the Blood Moon Demon Bird, the entire classroom suddenly went quiet. My display stunned the surviving students, and the remaining monsters sensed the powerful aura of the Pangu bloodline radiating from me, causing them to stop what they were doing and look my way. Without a hint of hesitation, I leapt into the air and, with lightning speed, slaughtered the remaining monsters. Within 3 minutes, all the mutated beasts in the classroom had been wiped out. Just then, the survivors in the room started clamoring to get out, and I walked to the podium with a cold expression.
Quiet, all of you. My words made the room fall silent instantly.
Don't be foolish. It's crawling with monsters out there. If you want to survive, listen to me. No sooner had I finished speaking than a giant hellhound outside bared its teeth and stuck out its tongue at everyone in the classroom, a low roar echoing through the room. At this critical moment, a girl in the crowd screamed at the top of her lungs, and the hellhound instantly became agitated. I frowned, my eyes fixed on the hellhound outside the classroom door. In my past life, this creature slaughtered wantonly in the school to evolve, eventually transforming into a 3-headed hellhound and becoming the overlord of Yun City. If it weren't for the timely arrival of high-level superhumans, the entire city would have become its rations. This time, I didn't intend to act myself, so I gave Sha Wanru, who was by my side, a signal. Seeing my gaze, Sha Wanru gathered Divine Thunder in her palm, and with a flash of her spirit blade, she caught the beast off guard and struck it with a bolt of Divine Lightning. As the dust settled, the hellhound's body was charred black. It was truly the anti-evil Divine Thunder that specialized in banishing filth in my previous life. The hellhound was completely enraged, dragging its charred body while opening its massive jaws to roar and charge into the classroom, spitting black flames that instantly turned desks and chairs to ash, while the 2 people beside the desk were incinerated. Seeing that the hellhound could withstand Wanru's Divine Thunder, I decided to take action myself. The legendary sky-opening axe whistled through the air, smashing toward the hellhound, and I followed closely behind, charging toward it. Although the Hellhound dodged the axe's attack with agility, I followed up like a wild bull, crashing directly into it and knocking it to the ground. Sha Wanru quickly handed me her weapon, and without giving the Hellhound a chance to retaliate, I finished it off with one strike. Afterward, I walked over to the Hellhound's carcass, sliced its body open, and extracted a glowing golden crystal. In my previous life, these crystals were known as spirit essences by superhumans. By absorbing them, superhumans could advance, making it the fastest and most stable way to level up. However, not all mutant beasts produce these crystals. Only a very small number yield low-level spirit essences from their remains. Yet, the higher the quality of the spirit essence within the body, the more powerful the mutant beast is. Recalling how Sha Wanru cared for my safety in the past life, and knowing that I had already awakened my Pengu bloodline talent, I decided to give this spirit essence to her. Hold it to your forehead and absorb it with your consciousness. Sha Wanru took the spirit essence and, without the slightest hesitation, followed my instructions. As the light faded, the spirit essence in her hand had vanished, and she looked completely refined and ethereal. And this is just the change in appearance. The growth in my actual innate ability is far greater, reaching that of a level 2 awakened. At the very beginning of this global transformation, the strength of a level 2 awakened is enough to handle most crises. I walked over to the girl who had screamed and attracted the Hellhound, and with a swift slash, her head rolled onto the ground. I glared at it fiercely and punched it. One really must pay the price for their own stupidity. There are fewer than a dozen people left alive at the scene. Sister Chen, we'll listen to you now. We'll do whatever you tell us to do. Just then, miserable cries for help echoed from outside the classroom, mixed with the roars of alien beasts. I knew the beasts in the school had already started to form packs. I remember in my past life, the school was so densely packed that many students turned into monsters, leading to an army of beasts. Even though I have awakened, I am still powerless to resist when facing thousands of these monsters. I decisively shut the classroom door and shouted, "Don't just stand there. Hurry and move the desks and chairs to block the windows and doors." Quote, I yelled at the group of people in the corner. After a brief hesitation, the instinct for survival kicked in. They hurriedly stood up and blocked the doors and windows as I instructed. As the army of beasts approached, Xiao Qian, the school beauty in the classroom, recognized Xiao Wei fleeing in front of them. That was her roommate and best friend. Xiao Wei's body was covered in wounds, and her miserable state instantly overwhelmed Xiao Qian with sympathy. In a flash, Xiao Qian reached the door and stretched out her hands, preparing to push away the desk blocking it. Right at that moment, I reached Xiao Qian and grabbed her, asking, "Do you want us all to be buried with her?" My cold voice rang out as a pair of firm hands gripped Xiao Qian's wrists tightly.
Chen, what do you mean by that? Xiao Wei is about to die. I can't just stand by and watch.
Seeing that I wouldn't let go, Xiao Qian grew ashamed and angry.
Chen, how can you be so cold-blooded and heartless?
I curled my lip and said, "Fine, since you think I'm cold-blooded, then go be a saint yourself." Quote, saying this, I activated my combat armor, opened the door, pushed Xiao Qian out, and then gently closed it again. Standing in the hallway, Xiao Qian was terrified and immediately turned back, pounding frantically on the door.
Sister Chen, I was wrong. I was just being impulsive. Please, let me back in. Quote, the mutated monsters in the hallway saw the crying Xiao Qian. Their eyes turned bloodshot and their faces grew ferocious. Then they swarmed toward her. Meanwhile, the others in the classroom were shivering with fear, huddled in the corners, listening to the beasts tearing at their prey in the hallway, not daring to make a sound. I stood straight behind the door, my expression tense. Once any of those monsters burst in, I was prepared to fight to the death. At the very least, I had to escort Sha Wan out of the school. After the monsters finished devouring Xiao Qian's body, the hallway suddenly fell silent. What happened?
Why did it suddenly go quiet? Could that pack of monsters have already left?
The students looked at each other, mistakenly thinking they had been spared, but they remained frozen in place, staring at me one by one. From past experiences, they knew that if they wanted to survive now, they had to rely on me. I peered through the small window on the door, and through the glass, I could clearly see that Xiao Qian had been torn apart by the monsters, leaving only a pool of blood behind. Those monsters were all strangely crouching on the ground, trembling, as if they were afraid of something. By all logic, after eating Xiao Qian, these monsters should have targeted the people inside the classroom next, rather than staying put. I was filled with doubt, because I wasn't at school during the last outbreak, so I was uncertain about what would happen next, and a sense of crisis began to grow in my heart.
Chen Jia, what's going on out there?
Sha Wan asked, clutching her long sword tightly, ready to be the first to rush out and protect me if something happened. I looked back at Sha Wan and shook my head. I don't know yet. Stay still and let's see what happens. No sooner had I finished speaking than movement began outside the classroom. Strange footsteps approached the door. With every step, it felt like a hammer striking everyone's heart.
Classmates, come out and play. I've been waiting for you for so long. I'm also willing to share some delicious treats with you.
A young girl's voice drifted from the hallway. It was eerie, making the hair on everyone's back stand up.
That's Zhao Shaolu's voice. Didn't she take a leave of absence today? She's Among the students, Gao Xiaoli said with a panicked expression, as if Zhao Xiaolu's appearance was a complete shock to her. Why did she come here? Could it be that she turned into a monster like Gao Junhao and came to take revenge on us? If she's looking for someone, she should go after Gao Xiaoli. Leave me out of it.
The girls who used to share a dorm with Zhao Xiaolu began whispering among themselves. They seemed to have done something wrong to Zhao Xiaolu before, and they looked panicked. The classroom door was slammed violently 3 times, and I gripped the bone blade in my hand tightly. Regardless of whether Zhao Xiaolu is here for revenge or something else, if she dares to attack me or Sha Wanru, I will cut her head off without hesitation. It's here! It's here!
Gao Xiaoli huddled in the corner of the classroom with her hands over her head.
Open the door, my little sisters. Didn't you love playing with me so much? Why aren't you opening it now?
Zhao Xiaolu giggled, but her voice was chilling. The banging continued, and the next moment, the classroom door was burst open, revealing a humanoid monster blocking the entrance.
Hey, I see you. Zhao Xiaolu laughed, then moved all 8 legs at once, darting into the classroom in a flash. After her mutation, her size had grown several times over. As soon as she entered, she took up most of the room. Xiaolu, please, forgive me.
Knowing she couldn't escape, Gao Xiaoli fell to her knees before Zhao Xiaolu.
Forgive? Did you ever think this day would come? Asking me to forgive you now is truly laughable. Zhao Xiaolu looked frantic, her body twitching. She recalled the pain that had severely traumatized her mind. Yet now that she had the power to take revenge, she felt incredibly excited. Yes, that's what she did.
One of Gao Xiaoli's roommates stepped forward to shift the blame, inching her way toward the door. You aren't going anywhere. Zhao Xiaolu's gaze turned icy, and with a boom, the door slammed shut on its own. I was stunned by this scene. Zhao Xiaolu must have mutated after eating a spider, but the fact that she can now use telekinesis to manipulate objects means she is likely approaching the peak of Tier 1. Zhao Xiaolu didn't notice my gaze. In a flash, she was in front of the escaping girl, slicing her body in 2 with a swipe of her claws, then picking up a piece and chewing on it. This bloody scene made many students gag on the spot. Gao Xiaoli, finding courage from nowhere, grabbed a table leg from the floor and rushed at Zhao Xiaolu, hitting her spider leg. However, it was like hitting steel. It caused no damage, and the shock made the table leg fall from her hands. Sensing Gao Xiaoli's attack, Zhao Xiaolu chuckled and lifted her into the air with telekinesis.
You're too impatient.
She then brought Gao Xiaoli to her mouth, pinning her down with powerful telekinesis, rendering her struggles completely useless. With one bite, Gao Xiaoli was covered in blood, her screams echoing throughout the entire classroom. After about 10 seconds, most of Gao Xiaoli's body had been devoured. Having avenged herself, she showed no sign of leaving, instead turning her hungry gaze toward me and Sha Wanru. You two look delicious. With fresh blood still staining the corners of her mouth, Zhao Xiaolu stared at me and Sharu with a vicious glare. As awakened ones, we were nothing but a delicacy in Zhao Xiaolu's eyes. Once her revenge was complete, she immediately set her sights on us. I tightened my grip on the heaven-opening axe, ready to fight at any moment. If Zhao Xiaolu hadn't targeted us, I never intended to get into a conflict with her. Before turning into a monster, Zhao Xiaolu led a miserable life. But now that she has set her sights on me, I have no choice but to cut off her head. Zhao Xiaolu let out a cruel laugh, as if she hadn't heard a word I said. Sharp, claw-like nails sprouted from her fingers, and she swiped at the empty air toward me. I let out a low grunt and swung my axe horizontally. The immense power shook the classroom space, causing the air to crackle as the blade collided head-on with her claws. The two forces clashed, sending sparks flying. Feeling the powerful impact, Zhao Xiaolu stumbled back 2 steps. With her beloved claws injured, she immediately spiraled into a state of madness. Those who hurt me must die. Zhao Xiaolu roared, looking up as if she had already mistaken me for one of the people who used to bully her. Enraged, she opened her gaping maw, a ripple surging from the dark abyss of her throat as thick white threads erupted from her mouth, coated in a light green, corrosive slime. This was a unique spider silk attack from Zhao Xiaolu's mutation, forming a massive web that shot directly toward me. A glint of gold flashed in my eyes as my internal energy surged. In such a confined space, dodging such a wide-range attack was impossible, so I decided to take this chance to test my awakened talent. A golden light rapidly rose from my body, and within moments, it wrapped around the heaven-opening axe in my hands. I held the sky-opening axe high toward the heavens, and the surrounding space began to tremble. It felt as if the entire floor was experiencing an earthquake. Tables in the room shook incessantly, and the windows shattered one after another. Just as the spider silk was about to envelop me completely, I swung my axe down. The sky-opening axe unleashed an earth-shattering power, crashing directly into the spider web. Even the spider silk, as thick as a human thigh, was like butter before the sky-opening axe. It snapped and disintegrated in an instant, utterly unable to hold me back. After slicing through the web, the sky-opening axe struck Zhao Xiaolu directly. Her body was cleaved in two from the shoulder down, and torrents of blood gushed out. Zhao Xiaolu let out a shrill scream, having suffered a heavy blow. A retreat began to form in her mind, and waves of psychic energy radiated from her brain. The ordinary students present clutched their heads, crouching on the ground in agony as they struggled. Facing the attack head-on, I took a hard hit. It was my first time encountering a psychic attack. Meanwhile, the monsters outside, influenced by Zhao Xiaolu's mental waves, charged in like madmen, eager to tear me to pieces.
You are not allowed to hurt Xiao Jia. Seeing the monsters rush toward me, Sha Wanru's gaze turned cold. She brandished her Qingling Longsword, and sparks of lightning burst from it, swirling around the blade. Before the monsters could get near me, Sha Wanru had already transformed into a blur and charged out. The divine thunder was unleashed, and streaks of lightning, as thick as pythons, surged toward the monsters. Having absorbed a core, Sha Wanru was clearly stronger than before. The mere residual lightning killed 4 or 5 monsters instantly, and the subsequent sweep of her blade wiped out an entire group. These monsters were like chopping vegetables before her. After flashes of lightning, the monsters in the hallway were completely cleared out. She absolutely would not allow anything that might cause me trouble to exist.
Chen Jia, you have been completely controlled by me. There is nowhere left for you to run.
The heavily injured Zhao Xiaolu, drawing strength from who knows where, swiped her claws at me. You don't actually think you can control me, do you? I, who had been standing dazed, suddenly snapped to my senses as 2 streams of mysterious yellow energy erupted from my body. This is my other talent, clarity of manifestation. As for Zhao Xiaolu's feeble mental control, if I weren't still in the experimental stage of my talent, her psychic hold wouldn't even have the ZJ to touch me. Once the mysterious yellow energy emerged, I regained my consciousness instantly, and my eyes became even brighter than before. How is it possible? My mental control is the strongest among mutants of my kind. How could you possibly break free? Zhao Xiaolu looked completely incredulous. Due to her deep-seated resentment, her mental power was indeed above average for early-stage monsters. Most awakened ones would fall into a long slumber after a direct hit, so my breaking free in mere moments truly shocked her. I smiled slightly, offering no further explanation, as I channeled energy into the heaven-opening axe. I bent my knees, and in the next instant, a streak of yellow lightning flashed. Zhao Xiaolu, who was already half gone, instantly turned into a rain of blood, scattering chunks of flesh across the classroom. Chen Jia, you killed her? Zhao Xiaolu had mental attacks. You're just too strong. Many of the students present began to regain their sanity. In this world filled with monsters, they had no awakened abilities and had to immediately cling to Sha Wanru and me. If Sha Wanru and I still remembered our classmates' bonds, they might still have a hope of survival. After the blood rain fell, a white crystal appeared where Zhao Xiaolu had been. If I'm not mistaken, it's another item that can boost one's strength. At the same time, 2 strands of black mist circled in the air. This black mist was likely Zhao Xiaolu's resentment from her light. Why? I hate you all. I curse you to hell. After the voice faded, the 2 strands of black mist rushed out through the window and dissipated into the world. I retracted the heaven-opening axe and let out a soft sigh. Chen, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Sha Wanru nervously grabbed my hand and began checking me over. Just now, when I was controlled and nearly caught by Zhao Xiaolu, her heart had been in her throat. I'm fine. I gently patted Wanru's head. This girl still cared for me just as much as she did in the previous life. After soothing Wanru, I went to retrieve the crystal left behind from killing Zhao Xiaolu. This crystal was white, revealing a hint of red light inside. This must be a spirit crystal. I felt this spirit crystal could help me improve, so I held it in my hand and began to absorb it with a thought. Instantly, a white light seeped into my body. I suddenly felt refreshed. Every cell in my body seemed to be breathing, and the aura on my body surged significantly. As expected of a Tier 1 crystal, it pushed me straight to the peak of a Tier 2 awakened one. Because I possess the Chaos Profound Yellow Body talent, my improvement after absorbing energy crystals is much greater than that of others. In the early stages of the apocalypse, absorbing a basic energy crystal might only advance an average person to a Tier 2 primary awakened, but I jumped straight to the peak of Tier 2. Xiao Jia, what should we do next? Sha Wanru glanced at the blood-stained surroundings and asked while clinging to my arm. This kind of horrific and bizarre situation was new to me too, and I had no plan in mind. Now that we've awakened, the next step is to keep getting stronger. In the apocalypse, while awakened individuals possess powers, they are also the preferred food for monsters. As the apocalypse progresses, monsters will continue to prey on humans and their own kind, evolving constantly. The monsters we face will only get stronger, so to survive, we must keep improving. My eyes flashed with a golden light. Listening to my words, Sha Wanru also seemed thoughtful. She didn't quite understand how to improve. She just wanted to protect me, and she would eliminate anything that threatened my existence. The scent of blood after Zhao Xiaolu's death drew the attention of the monsters in the school. The flesh and blood of a higher-level monster like her is a rare delicacy for others. Smelling the blood, they swarmed toward the classroom where I was, so I took Sha Wanru's hand and prepared to leave. Chen Jia, take me with you. My dad is a director at Guangyao Group. I promise you wealth and prosperity. You can have as much money as you want. Huang Tian, the rich kid in class, stood up at this moment. His family did have a lot of assets, and he usually came to school in a Mercedes S-Class. But for these young masters, everything still revolves around money. In their eyes, money can do anything. Ridiculous. This is the apocalypse. Do you really think money is still useful? I scoffed. Huang Tian was truly naive. Seeing my attitude, the arrogant Huang Tian couldn't swallow his pride. I, a poor boy whose mother died early and who worked part-time to pay for school. Before Huang Tian could finish his sentence, my expression turned cold, scaring him into silence.
Are you tired of living? Let me send you off. I grabbed Huang Tian's shoulder and gave him a light push to the ground. In the next second, he collapsed, unresponsive and completely lifeless. The other classmates saw this and scrambled back in fear, staring at me in terror. Now, killing them would be as easy as crushing an ant. After dealing with Huang Tian, I took Sha Wanru and headed out the classroom door.
They're leaving. What should we do now? No, we must survive. If we follow Chen Jia, we might stay alive. After a brief discussion, the classmates grabbed some table legs from the classroom and followed behind me one after another. Noticing the students following, I didn't drive them away. Firstly, we were old classmates, so let them follow as long as they don't hold me back. Secondly, so many people will surely attract many monsters, and I can just use these students to kill monsters and level up. After clearing out a few monsters in the hallway, I arrived at the school convenience store and packed all the edible food into my bag. The other students also knew to collect supplies, but they only dared to take what I didn't want. I didn't leave until I had swept the entire store and filled 2 large bags.